Hey, what's up, Skelemystyk? I am here today in the river of frozen tears of Polaris. I am here because I think this is a really beautiful landscape. It's really pretty. It's nice to walk through. There's not a lot of wildlife to see, but then again, sometimes wildlife can be a bad thing if it's trying to bite a chunk out of you. In any case, I think this is a very beautiful country to walk through, and it brings me to the subject of today's video, the top 5 most loved lands in the spiral. Everybody, I think, has their own favorite land that they like to visit or to see or to be in or what have you. And so I kind of asked, because I was interested one day, by viewer vote, what are the top 5 most favorite lands? Which ones do you think are the best looking, the best designed, the most fun to play in, that sort of thing? And I got a lot of answers back. And in this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 most loved lands in the spiral. So let's go ahead now and get started with number 5. At number 5, we have Azteca. This is really, literally, the world that people love to hate. If you ask people for their favorite worlds, this will be on as many people's love lists as it is on their hate list. I'm not quite sure why. People are never in the middle about this place. They either love it or they hate it all the way, and you get a lot of response about that whenever you ask that question. People who don't like it don't like the length of it, and they don't like the sort of a sad ending of the storyline that goes on. As you can see, I'm about to get busted by a meteor here, and that's not to be a spoiler or anything, but well, it's been out long enough that a spoiler doesn't really apply here. As you can see, the world is doomed at the end here by the huge space object, this is a comet or an asteroid or what have you, that is now bombarding the planet. The funny thing about Azteca, as far as the world goes, is this was released in 2012, and if I remember right, that movie that had to do with the Mayan calendar came out, I think it was somewhere around this time, I'm not sure. But anyhow, there was a movie to this effect that came out right about the time that this world did, and it had the same ending with the whole bombardment of the planet, as it were. In any case, I'm digressing from the point. The point about Azteca is, personally, I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it. I think that it's very richly decorated, and that it has at least an all-right storyline, if a bit fatalistic. Anyhow, Azteca is number 5 on the top 5 most favorite worlds of the spiral, but it'll probably also be in the top 5 on the most hated worlds of the spiral as well. I warn you ahead of time, more than likely, because people's opinion about this world is there's just no middle ground, none at all. All right, let's pop out now and go to the number 4 world, and I will meet you right there. The number 4 world, believe it or not, is Grizzle Hon, with its rainbow entrance and its cute, cuddly, somewhat cute and cuddly. I don't think they're very cute and cuddly at times. They look kind of big, beefy, and about ready to eat somebody like this fellow out here by the fire. He doesn't really look all that happy. Anyhow, they have some cute and cuddly little versions of themselves. I'm sure I see, there's 1 or 2 running around here. No, it's not the guy pushing the wheelbarrow right there. Anyhow, Grizzle Hon is the number 4 most favorite world in the spiral. Apparently, whenever people are asked about why it's their favorite, they love the rich outworld design. They love the concept of the way the bears live. I think it's just that natural spirit in all of us. Anyhow, Grizzle Hon, composed of so many different areas, including Wintertusk, is the number 4 most favorite world in the spiral. Like I said, it has a lot of different things to offer. For one thing, Wintertusk, the offshoot of Grizzle Hon, is where just about everybody who can get there goes to farm for a massive gold supply from the half-fang boss that's in Wintertusk. For another, like I said, if you just go exploring through here and you listen to the music, and it really does give you a frontier wilderness feeling. Even up to the point of this fellow here, who's been relaxing so long, I'm surprised he's not growing into the ground. I remember this fellow and seeing him when I first started Grizzle Hon, I'm like, wow, he's asleep? How long can this guy sleep? And he's been asleep since the release of Grizzle Hon. So there you have it. Oh, there's one of those little bear cubs I'm talking about. Here's one of the little half-size bears. They don't really look like cubs. They just look like miniature versions of the big guys. He's got that big old honking nose. Oh, look at him. There he goes. He looks serious, but he's small and cuddly at the same time. There's nothing you can't love about Grizzle Hon. It is the number 4 most favorite world in the spiral. I'm going to pop on out to number 3 now, and we're going to have a quick talk about that one. And here we are at number 3. The most favorite world in the spiral for number 3 is Mooshu. Mooshu is based on feudal Japan, and instead of Japanese, for some odd reason, they decided they were going to use cows and goats and various other assorted flora and fauna. Let's take a little visit through the Mooshu there. There's one of our goat monks, very happy looking. And this is like the only creature in Mooshu that is not a goat or a cow or a sheep or some farm animal. Our gardener vendor there. Mooshu, all the residents of Mooshu give their homage to the Greek god Muda. What makes, I think, Mooshu so successful is it's very, very largely tongue-in-cheek with the humor. It's second only, I think, to Wisteria so far as bad puns and interesting landscapes. We call them interesting because we don't want to say ridiculous. You know what I mean. Anyhow, Mooshu, released so long ago. This is actually one of the core worlds. It's one of the very first worlds of Wizard101. Not the first, but one of the first. Has been around for a long time, and even though it's been around for such a long time, is much loved and very successful. It received the top 3 votes for most favorite world of the spiral. A wonderful place to visit, but you don't want to live. Well, maybe you do want to live here. It is pretty calm and serene. Let's head over to the number 2 world in the spiral. Most favorite of all. The second most favorite world of the spiral, believe it or not, is the latecomer Mirage. Mirage is just released this past year, 2016. And actually, I think, single-handedly has brought some life back to Wizard101. Before that, we had Polaris, and Polaris was not really well received, even though I felt it was a pretty decently designed world, and it had some alright concepts, and it had some alright additions as far as gameplay. It was generally not well received, and I'm not quite sure why. I think that some of the objections were that it was actually too short, that it could be played through in about 8 hours, bam, you're done, now we gotta wait another year for any more content, As a side note, let me grab that shiny while I'm here. There we go. Had to grab that shiny. Must not pass by a shiny if you can avoid it. Anyhow, Mirage is the second most favorite world in the spiral now, and has done quite a lot to reestablish the Wizard101 game and name. If Imperia, which is coming out sometime next year, just like they always do, is anything as good as Mirage, I think that we will see a large revival in Wizard101. That, and if they were to bring the PvP rules back to the original game. Those two things, I think, would bring Wizard101 back to something that it was in the past. A largely populated game and loved by many. This world is the number 2 most favorite world in the spiral. And it is well deserved. Alright, let me pop up to number 1, the most favorite world of all, and we will go to it and give it a talk about. And then we will... The number 1, the most favorite world in the spiral, as given by viewer vote, is Avalon. Avalon, I have to say that Wizard101 went out of their way, or King's Isle, went out of their way in designing this world. This world is quite beautiful, not only in its decoration, but in its storyline. This world is one of those places that's not too long, not too short. It's just long enough to keep your attention. And it has enough new and innovative things, mind you, except for the Jabberwock, who is still yet one of the most hated bosses in the spiral. The Jabberwock is. But despite the Jabberwock, Avalon released in, I do believe it was 2012. Avalon was released in 2012, and still yet to this day, 5 years later, remains Wizard101's most favorite world in the spiral, and looks like it's not going to lose that title anytime soon. Whenever asked about this world, I think that I had a couple of people who didn't like it, but overwhelmingly, I think it was about 17-2 of the people that I asked about Avalon who liked it versus disliked it. So this is one of those worlds that, King's Isle, if you're listening, this is one of those worlds that you kind of need to keep the concept of and make a new world that's very similar to this one. This one in Mirage, guys, you hit the ball right out of the park, and you did a fine job, and people loved it. And if you want a bunch more people, hey, make more worlds like Avalon and Mirage, by all means. All right, guys, this is the top 5 most loved worlds in the Spiral. Guys, if you enjoyed this, you know what? Before I go to the outro, something I want to get off my chest. Whenever I was polling about the worlds and seeing who liked what and who hated what and whatnot like that, I got a lot of answers that surprised me. So sometime down the line here, I'm going to do a world in review for each and every world of the Spiral, and I'm going to talk about whether it is generally well liked, generally well not liked, or generally well liked or generally not liked, and why those things are. There are some worlds that actually surprise me that I don't have the opinion of the populace on as to whether it's liked or not liked and why. So I'm going to make that into a video or maybe even a short series because there is so many worlds now these days, a little bit later on. But for now, this is going to suffice for the top 5 most favorite worlds of the Spiral. Now, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, a good hard smash, and as well subscribe and share. I would love to see more of you around here. That would be great. Until next time, this is Skelemystyk reminding you that whatever else you do, always love the game. Peace! Hey, what's up, here Skelemystyk. I am here today in Avalon to talk to you all about energy gear. We all use energy for one thing or another. Maybe you're a fishing aficionado. Aficionado, there's a good pun for you. Are you an aficionado? Maybe you're a fishing aficionado. Maybe you're a pet trainer. Maybe you're a massive